Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. As a Christian, do you sometimes feel you've been pigeonholed? I'm glad you've chosen to be with us. My guest today is someone who breaks the mould of what you might expect of a typical Christian academic. Tanya Riches was part of the Hillsong creative team for many years, working with Darlene Sheck and Reuben Morgan and so many others. She was the lead singer in popular Christian bands, Speaking of Sarah, and she worked with Hillsong United for 6 years. She then gained a scholarship to a PhD program at Fuller Theological Seminary in Los Angeles before returning to Australia to complete her fieldwork, looking particularly at Australia's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people attending urban contemporary churches. In addition to this, she's an honorary fellow of the Cadbury Centre of Religion at the University of Birmingham and the Alpha Christus College in Australia. There's so much more we could say about Tanya, but I'm looking forward to our conversation later in the programme. Deb Ezzy-Walton and the Wesley Impact Band will sing Faith and Wonder, and I'll share some thinking in Luke's Gospel, which just before Advent appropriately focuses on Christ the King and the crucifixion. But first, at Wesley Mission, we operate a number of retirement villages across Sydney, and Wesley Taylor in Narrabeen is arranged in such a way that we can invite people in from time to time, and we recently invited primary school children to meet some of our residents. I think you'll find this quite amusing. Let's take a look at Laurie Hayson sharing some of her life's experience with school students.
Take one.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rochester, Kent, England, which is on the south coast of the United Kingdom.
What job did you have?
My first job was as a nursery nurse. In England we don't call them kindergartens because that's a German word. A lady came round to school, I went to a co-ed school, and said, is there anybody who likes children that like to work with them? And I put my hand up, and she said, would you like to come and work in the nursery school? And I said, I'd love it. So she said, would you be allowed? And I said, oh yes. And I went home and told my sister that I was going to go to work, and she said, you are not. You are going to school and going to university. And I said, well, I've left school and I'm starting work on Monday.
When did you discover your love for children?
I was just born with it. I always gravitated to children when they were around.
Why?
Well, they were always so happy. Well, most of the time anyway. And children do respond to happiness. If you're happy, they're happy.
What's the one thing that you've enjoyed the most in your life?
Friendship. Friends have meant a great deal to me over the years. I've had many friends of different nationalities and different parts in life. Some have been wealthy, some have been poor, but they've all been good friends.
What was your most memorable achievement?
Well, I would have to say being a mother of my 4 children.
What was your husband like?
Which one? My first husband was a bomber pilot in the Australian Air Force, and then after that he was a scientist at CSIRO. Unfortunately that marriage didn't last, and then after 3 years after the divorce I remarried, and I was married for 40 years to that man, and he was a loving, gentle, we had a very happy marriage, but he died 6 years ago. That's why I'm here.
What's it like living here in the retirement village?
I love living in the retirement village. The staff here are wonderful, very kind, and there's so much to do that I've hardly got time to catch up on everything else I should be doing, like writing letters.
If you would
would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
So don't hesitate to be in touch if you'd like to find more out about our work at Wesley Mission, or if we can help you in any way. The contact details are on the screen now. Now, I mentioned earlier I was looking forward to speaking to Tanya Riches, who from the beginning of her work at Hillsong Church, Tanya's gone on to be a well-respected Christian academic around the world, teaching at many different places. I could list them in Singapore, Canada, the United States, and Andrews University in the United States, and many more. But Tanya, I don't want to waste time doing that. I want to talk to you. It's good to talk to you. Making the move from Christian music, because you're known probably for one or two songs particularly, you're known for that, but into academic studies, not something that many people do. How did it come about?
Yeah, sure. I think I've always had a curious mind, and so probably answers that might have satisfied other people, probably I just sat there with questions and really just wanted to explore them more. And so academics is a really creative industry actually, and so research, you're able to explore those questions. So I guess it kind of was natural for me, but I can imagine there probably aren't a lot of musicians that imagine being academics.
So it's the next stage on for this, something about that name, isn't it, really, to ask what does that name mean?
Definitely. For me, it was, worship really evoked something in me, a desire to understand Jesus more. And then, that led to finding out what other people, have written, and history of, the church, and
now,
more
I think
about
of
Jesus.
Fuller in terms of church growth because of a lot of work that's there. But tell us, what is it, Fuller Theological College and Seminary like?
Oh, it's so diverse, and I think that's the incredible thing about it. It's really people from all over the world. So Fuller's had a legacy in many, many places like Korea and Africa. There's really strong heritage, and the Fuller alumni are a really strong network around the world. So really it was just being in a place where there's representatives of every single denomination, every single church, national church, and being able to talk through some of the things that we grapple with in a local context.
Did that broaden your thinking a little bit and gave you avenues of thinking that to that time had not been yours?
Yeah, definitely. I think you realise really the beauty of your own tradition. So for me, that's the Pentecostal tradition. Growing up, and doing worship, in a lot of places around the world, but being Pentecostal and realising what that means comparative to other types of Christian denominations, and how people view Jesus and what the strengths of those churches are, and being able to really celebrate that.
So you come back to Australia and you start working with Aboriginals to find out what their pastors are like, what it is about Indigenous people attending city churches. What have you learned from that?
Yeah, so I think the thing that drew me to that was that I really felt that if Jesus was to turn up in contemporary Australian society today, I kind of wondered where would the manger be? Where would be this place of lowliness? And I couldn't help but get away from the idea that it might be the Kimberleys, and it might be a little child in the Kimberleys that would be very easily overlooked, and that where 1 in 5 has an ear infection, and there's all kinds of health disparities. So for me, I got drawn to that out of a spiritual kind of quest, and walked in wanting to learn more. The Aboriginal pastors that I found in a network right around Australia are extraordinary. So to be able to sit and listen to their wisdoms and to be able to follow them.
And I admire that, I have to say, because I think from the evangelical tradition that we all belong to, our strength hasn't been in that area. It's been in other areas.
In listening. No, I don't think so. I think it's been in, prescribing ways. And that taking a different stance and listening has really changed the way that I've approached my own faith, the way that I approach prayer, the way that I, live now is different. The way that I think about the the environment that we live in.
Lecture and run courses.
Yeah, I think, just the idea of even being able to gather wisdom from the people that are around us and to be able to, have sat in yarning circles and to learn what that is like.
Yeah.
That's a deeply Australian,
It is.
tradition in the sense that, that's the word that we use now, Australia, but the land has had this tradition of leadership and of culture that I think it's beautiful to be able to participate in it and to see that as something that is a strength of Australia.
And much truth is under the tree in a circle.
Absolutely, around a campfire, right?
Yeah.
You learn all kinds of things. But I think in the urban context, where that those things still happen, but in different ways. And there's a really cool culture. Aboriginal Australia is young and very tech savvy.
So people
that's really
still
great.
enjoy listening to you sing. Do you still find music satisfying, or has it changed in any way?
Oh, I think, definitely for me, writing has been something that I've done in the past year a lot with the release of my monograph, which was my PhD. And, editing, you kind of get caught in the nitty-gritty. But singing is a bodily freedom that I think is really important for us as people who can sometimes be really in our phones and, really present in a very, mundane way. To sing is to really allow our spirits to be free. And so I definitely love that. And my little son, he's 5 months and he has been trying to sing. So I think it's innate in us.
I'm sure he's changed your life, as all children do. Look, I wish we'd got more time. I hope we'd perhaps have you back again sometime on the show. Thank you for giving us the time to talk to us today. Please welcome now Deb Ezzy-Walton and the Wesley Impact Band to sing Faith and Wonder.
There's a name that shakes the mountain tops, the only word that breaks the curses of
Over the years of Wesley Impact, Keith Garner has had hundreds of conversations sharing stories of hope, resilience, love and the Christian faith. Perspectives on Faith and Leadership is a collection of inspiring and insightful conversations with people who are leaders in their field, including the New South Wales Police Commissioner Andrew Scipione, CEO of Lifeline Australia John Brogden, the inventor of the cochlear ear implant Professor Graham Clark, founder of Shed Happens Ian Watto-Watson, respected Australian journalist Lee Hatcher, and the former Chief Inspector of the New South Wales Police Gary Raymond. Each conversation shares a unique perspective on leadership and the achievements of notable community leaders, and collectively presents a broad cross-section of leadership styles that have brought positive social change. Perspectives on Faith and Leadership is the first instalment of a 3-part series and is available now from Wesley Mission. To find out more, contact Wesley Mission on 02 9263 5555 or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
As we fast approach Advent and Christmas, it mustn't be lost on us that the Christian community stops to consider the crucifixion. The death of Jesus is important to us, and all around the world at this season and on this day, people stop before they get caught up in the glories of Advent and Christmas to consider the kingdom of God and the kingship of Jesus. So I'm going to read to you from Luke 23. It's a passage you might associate immediately with Lent or the Easter, but in fact it's appropriate today. Luke 23, and I'm reading verses 33 to 43. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved others, let him save himself, if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was a written notice above him, which read, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminals rebuked him. "Don't you fear God," he said, "since you're under the same sentence? We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserved. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." We're told here in this account that there are 2 criminals led out to be executed with Jesus. They were placed one on either side of our Saviour. And the saying of Jesus that is echoed down the years is full of truth. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." Jesus asked for forgiveness for those who'd taken part in his crucifixion. It's true that they didn't really know what they were doing and who it was that they were crucifying, that they were crucifying God's Messiah. And yet they certainly were crucifying an innocent man at the very least. People stood by watching. They were innocent onlookers, we might say. Or were they in some way complicit with what was happening, just merely by looking and saying nothing? 2 men died on their cross alongside Jesus. One tried to intimidate him, and the other appealed for mercy. To the one who sought mercy, Jesus offers the gracious gift of paradise. It's really the climax, if you like, of this passage. Today you will be with me in paradise. And as we prepare ourselves to acknowledge the birth of the Prince of Peace, we recognize that there were enemies of Jesus who simply laughed at him and mocked him. We must not miss the message of the 2 convicts. One remained unrepentant and the other did not ask for help because he had no right, but merely requested that Jesus remember him when he comes into his kingdom. I've spoken many times as I've journeyed through Luke's gospel about comparisons, about the fact that sometimes it's a comparison between somebody who gives a lot and somebody who gives a little, sometimes between somebody who responds in the right way or responds in the wrong way. Well, here we have two people who spell out the issue of comparison in a most stark way, in the way that they respond to what is happening to Jesus. One is swift to claim his own rights. Do this when you come into your kingdom. But the other just acknowledges that he hasn't done anything that should make him feel that he's got any right to forgiveness, for grace. To me, that's the cross. But it's also the whole message. Right from the very beginning, in the Advent account that we're going to begin next week, there is this story of preparing ourselves for the gift of the Prince of Peace, the King of Kings, who comes into this world. And although we'll be full of walking around the shops trying to get the bargaining amongst the masses of people shopping for gifts at Christmas, the greatest gift, of course, is salvation. And we can never earn it. It is the grace of God. It is the gift of God to unearned, unmerited people who know what it is to reach out and try to claim that which is his. Well, here's a perfect example of what Christmas is all about. It's about someone, some people, the whole world reaching out for something that it doesn't deserve. And then quietly in our own way, we sit back and receive him who brings life and hope and peace into this world when he comes in his kingdom, when he comes in his light, when he comes in his glory. Together, we want to say, let us stand with the one of those two thieves who recognize he got no standing. And it is as we recognize we have no standing that our hearts and our lives are touched and filled with the greatness and goodness of God that reaches out to every one of us. It's not our church, it's not our faith, it's by his grace alone that we know what it is to receive his salvation.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
Experience the Galilee and the towns and cities where Jesus was raised and called his home. Capernaum, Nazareth, Tabgha, Magdala, Caesarea Philippi, Bethsaida, Tiberias, and of course the Sea of Galilee all feature in this 6-part series as Keith Garner explains the first century context of biblical events.
Jesus was born during a time of change in the political and economic leadership of this region. Fishermen around a lakeside was really one of the big businesses. Why Jesus? Why didn't people ignore him? Why did they take him seriously? And what are the questions we should be asking today if we're going to take Jesus seriously?
The Man of Galilee is available now and comes with a study guide for leaders, small groups and individuals. For more, visit wesleymission.org.au.
Write to me if you've got any questions about the Christian faith or anything you've heard on the programme today. I always look forward to hearing from you and making some kind of response to emails and letters. Let's take a look together now at some of the events coming up at Wesley Mission.
Get your Christmas shopping done early this year. Wesley Mission's Christmas stall is happening on Thursday the 5th of December at the Wesley Centre. You'll not only be able to snap up a bargain, but you'll also be supporting the refurbishment of the Wesley Edward Eager Centre for the homeless. Join us for Wesley Mission's end-of-year Thanksgiving service as we celebrate our many achievements throughout the year and look ahead to 2020. This special service will be held at the Wesley Theatre on Sunday the 1st of December at 3:30 p.m. Wesley School for Seniors is holding their annual end-of-year concert at the Wesley Centre on Thursday the 12th of December at 10 a.m. Come and see stunning performances of dance, music, singing and much more. For more information about Wesley School for Seniors, please visit wesleymission.org.au.
So that Wesley Mission website's on the screen again. We get more information of events that are coming up. Don't hesitate to be in touch if we can help you in any way, or a loved one. I hope you enjoyed, as I did, that conversation with Tanya Riches, who's a very, very much a person of today's church, and that you felt some of the thoughts about the innocent onlookers at the cross were helpful. Thank you once again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, goodbye, and may God richly bless you this week.
Wesley Mission walks alongside people of all ages struggling with homelessness, addictions, mental health issues and financial stress. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.